The story of Indian civilization, from ancient roots to the modern world. India is not just a country. India is a civilization, one of the oldest continuous civilizations in human history. Its story does not begin with kings or empires, but with rivers, soil, and human curiosity. More than 5,000 years ago, along the banks of the Indus River, people began to build cities that would quietly change the course of history. The dawn of civilization, the Indus Valley. Around 2600 BCE, while much of the world was still living in small tribal communities, the people of the Indus Valley were building advanced urban centers such as Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. These were not chaotic settlements. They were carefully planned cities with straight streets, advanced drainage systems, public baths, and standardized bricks. Every house had access to water and sanitation, a level of urban planning that would not be matched in many parts of the world for thousands of years. What makes this civilization even more remarkable is its peaceful nature. Archaeologists found very few weapons. There were no large palaces or temples dominating the cities. Power, it seems, was decentralized. Life revolved around trade, craftsmanship, and community. The Indus people traded with Mesopotamia, exported beads, cotton, and pottery, and used a written script that remains undeciphered to this day, a silent language waiting to tell its secrets. But around 1900 BCE, the civilization slowly declined. Climate change, shifting rivers, and economic disruption likely played a role. The cities were abandoned, but the people did not disappear. Their knowledge flowed into the next chapter of Indian civilization, the Vedic Age, the birth of philosophy. As the Indus cities faded, a new cultural phase emerged, the Vedic Age. This period laid the foundations of Indian thought, spirituality, and social structure. The Vedas, among the oldest sacred texts in the world, were composed during this time. They were not history books, but philosophical reflections on life, nature, duty, and the universe. Concepts such as dharma, moral duty, karma, action and consequence, and moksha, liberation, were born here. India began to think deeply not just about survival but about existence itself. Unlike many ancient civilizations that focused mainly on power and conquest, Indian civilization turned inward, asking questions that humanity still asks today. Who are we? Why are we here? What is the nature of reality? Empires and unity. Maurya and Gupta. By the 4th century BCE, India saw the rise of large empires. The most famous was the Maurya Empire, founded by Chandragupta Maurya and later ruled by his grandson, Ashoka the Great. Ashoka's story is one of the most powerful in human history. After witnessing the immense suffering caused by his conquest of Kalinga, he renounced violence. He embraced Buddhism and transformed from a conqueror into a ruler guided by compassion. Ashoka spread ideas of tolerance, nonviolence, and moral governance across his empire and beyond. He sent missionaries to Asia, engraved moral teachings on stone pillars, and proved that an empire could be built on ethics, not just fear. Later came the Gupta Empire, often called the Golden Age of India. During this time, India made extraordinary contributions to science, mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and art. The concept of zero, the decimal system, advanced surgery, and accurate astronomical calculations all flourished here. Indian scholars understood that the Earth was round and rotated on its axis centuries before Europe accepted these ideas. A land of diversity and faith. One of India's greatest strengths and challenges has always been its diversity. Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, all were born on this land. Later, Islam and Christianity arrived, not just through conquest, but also through trade and cultural exchange. India did not erase differences. It absorbed them. Temples stood near mosques. Philosophical debates replaced religious wars in many eras. While conflicts existed, the dominant trend was coexistence. This ability to hold contradictions, faith and reason, tradition and change became a defining feature of Indian civilization. Invasions, suffering, and survival. From the 12th century onward, India faced waves of invasions, Turkic, Afghan, and later Mughal rulers. Some periods brought destruction, others brought cultural synthesis. The Mughal Empire, especially under rulers like Akbar, blended Persian, Islamic, and Indian traditions. Art, architecture, and administration flourished. The Taj Mahal stands today as a symbol of that fusion. But the greatest turning point came with European colonization, British rule, the wound of empire. The British did not arrive as rulers, they arrived as traders. Through the East India Company, they slowly took control of India's economy, resources, and governance. What followed was one of the most devastating colonial experiences in history. India, once responsible for nearly 25% of the world's economy, was reduced to poverty. Industries were destroyed. Millions died in famines, not from lack of food, but from exploitation and mismanagement. Yet even in darkness, resistance grew. Gandhi and the power of nonviolence. In the 20th century, India gave the world another revolutionary idea: nonviolent resistance. Mahatma Gandhi, inspired by ancient Indian principles, led a mass movement without weapons. Through peaceful protests, civil disobedience, and moral courage, India challenged the might of the British Empire. In 1947, India gained independence, but freedom came at a terrible cost. The partition of India and Pakistan caused one of the largest human migrations in history and the deaths of over 1 million people. Still, India survived. Modern India. Contradictions and hope today. India is a nation of contrasts. It is a nuclear power and a spacefaring country, yet millions still live in poverty. It is the world's largest democracy, noisy, chaotic, and alive with debate. It is a global leader in technology, medicine, and education, while also deeply rooted in ancient traditions. Bangalore is a global tech hub. Indian scientists send missions to Mars. Indian CEOs lead some of the world's largest companies. At the same time, villagers still pray to the same gods their ancestors did thousands of years ago. This is not a contradiction. This is India, a civilization that never died. Many ancient civilizations rose and fell: Egypt, Mesopotamia, Rome. India transformed, adapted, and endured. It was never a single empire, language, or religion. It was, and still is, a civilization of ideas. Ideas about life, tolerance, inquiry, and resilience. India's story is not finished. It is still being written by 1.4 billion people carrying the weight of history and the promise of the future. And that is why Indian civilization is not just ancient history. It is a living story. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to stay updated. See you next time.